documentary is about to explore the advances and growth of gaming from the 3DO to the PS4. We're going to talk about the implications of your daily life, from your iPhones to your iPods, all the way back to the console of the 3DO, which many of you are probably listening and have no clue what that is. In the public side, we think of gaming as Call of Duty or Grand Theft Auto, or even as far back as Pac-Man and Space Invaders. But who played the original Pac-Man and Space Invaders machines? I didn't, so I'm not going to start my story there. It started in my living room the year 1999. A 3DO set up into a tiny square box with a brilliant game, Gex.
I had just finished my usual morning routine of nude funkercise, fired up the Barca Lounger, grabbed a quick bite to eat, and prepared to watch some serious tubes. Little did I know, my snack was sent by Rees.
Gex, a game released before I was even born, and the reason I basically brought up the 3DO, even though I can hardly remember it and all I can remember is hitting stuff with my lizard tail, is the evolution of CDs. This wasn't the first system to use CDs, but it was the first system to use it as its main function. What I mean by this was Sega released something called the Sega CD for the Sega Genesis, which allowed just CDs to be used. The Sega CD didn't do very well, and the 3DO aimed to do better, but due to its also hefty price tag of $700, the system didn't sell very well. But the 3DO didn't do too bad, as it started one of the most popular series, Need for Speed. Yep, Need for Speed. Yes, the beloved Need for Speed started on the 3DO, and as you can see, the graphics are nothing comparable for today. So let's jump a year forwards and the release of the PlayStation 2. So moving on a year later, we find ourselves with the PlayStation 2. It's sort of a graphical evolution. We have games like Ratchet & Clank, Shadow of the Colossus, Black, and even games such as Need for Speed, with a big difference in just a year's time. And this really moved gaming forwards. Let's just have a look at the launch event for the PlayStation 2.
PlayStation 2. It's on everyone's mind these days, and leading us into its North American launch, the excitement and anticipation surrounding it is starting to blow a few minds.
Man, the graphics is outstanding out here. I'm loving it.
The graphics is sweet, especially on that fighting one down there.
Controllability of the games are unbelievable.
Gaming did get a bit weird in the year 2000, and the PlayStation 2 and don't forget the Xbox really brought gaming to life. With the release of the PlayStation 2, gaming gets a hell of a lot better. We have bigger memory cards, 8 megabytes of data. That's just like so many saves. We have the accessibility of internet play. So now you can play with friends all over the world. That is if they have internet, which isn't dial-up, and they've bought a network adapter, which is about $40 or 25 quid. The PlayStation 2 has to be one of the most memorable consoles of them all. Even though we'll see later the PS3 and the Xbox 360 have been out for about 8 years, the PlayStation 2 still brought with it a load of great games. One of the most memorable games on the PlayStation 2 has to be Simpsons Hit and Run. This game was like kids' GTA. Another hugely popular game was the Ratchet & Clank series, the Spider-Man movie games, which was surprisingly good, especially the second one. That was pretty amazing. And the original Call of Duties. A couple of years later, we get the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. And things get a little bit more crazy for gaming.
The attendees included over 3,000 gamers who made the trip to Palmdale, California to be one of the first consumers to get their hands on the Xbox 360. Games weren't the only attraction at the event, as some found their way to the free tattoo station. Another seemingly odd addition to the massive event was a single tree adorned with strange pictures, messages, and fluffy white rabbits.
So for some reason, the Xbox 360 launch had white rabbits and green trees. Nope, nobody understood, and to this day I don't think anybody really got the message. But the technology that these games and consoles brought were astonishing. For example, on the release of the original Xbox, it came with an 8MB memory unit, which would be primarily used for saves, while the Xbox 360 launched with 20 gig, which is 20,000 megabytes. And all this is just hard drive space. We haven't even got onto the graphics. On the launch of the Xbox 360, there's not a lot of games available, with Ridge Racer 6, Gun, FIFA 06, Call of Duty 2, a Tony Hawk game, and a bunch of other third-party games. But there's one huge thing which has really changed the way we all play games today, and that's online play. Not to say that we didn't have this on PC or on the PlayStation 2, but the Xbox 360 made it available to everyone. But then there was literally a game changer. We had the Call of Duty series, which brought a series called Modern Warfare. The original Modern Warfare sold extremely well due to it being a well-known franchise, and it was like a complete reboot. But me and 11 million other players bought Modern Warfare 2, and that was on the Xbox alone. There was also 8 million players on the PlayStation 3. If you didn't own Modern Warfare 2, you weren't cool, and that's a fact. But the way people got around this was video sharing, and this is where video sharing became massively popular. First it started with camcorders, then RGB cables, and then full-on HDMI recording platforms. YouTube went mad. It had millions and millions of videos uploaded every second of Modern Warfare 2, and this consisted of stuff like quick scopes, which was a huge thing, glitches, cheats, everything you could think of, and then that stuck around. Developers use it to show new updates, while gamers show their ways around levels, their tips and tricks, and even creative stuff like machinimas, which were just groups of people who would make their own sort of fan story inside the game world they were playing. So there's a few ways to record your gameplay. So I've got my friend Warren here showing you how to plug your Elgato in and how to record gameplay if you're on the Xbox or the PlayStation. For those wondering what an Elgato is, it's basically a recording device for your Xbox or your PlayStation. It'll take the direct output and stick it straight into video form.
You want to take the second part of the HDMI cable, put it on the HDMI outside, and then that will go straight to the TV, allowing it to pick up on your side of the TV so you can watch what you're recording at the same time.
As you can see, it's really simple to record, and this makes the accessibility of video recording and uploading to YouTube really easy. So then we got to the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, and gamers sort of split. We get the PC gamers who absolutely hate everything about console, but they're interested in the PlayStation 4 because of the architecture of the console. We have very high-end things going into this system. But then we have the Xbox One, who really don't seem to care. Xbox think it's a better idea to go for this original television console, which nobody asked for and nobody really wants. The PlayStation stick to their roots and stick to pure gaming, and this creates a lot of hate for the Xbox One. But other than the hate for Xbox One, the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One brought graphics to a whole new level. Just to give you an idea on how far the graphics have come, the PlayStation 2 and the original Xbox were outputting with a DVD format, which as you can see is tiny. The Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3 were outputting at 720p, while the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One were promising 1080p all the way to 4K. For people who don't understand what 4K is, it's basically twice the size of 1080p. Think of 720p as 1K, 1080p as 2, and 4K as double 1080p. As you can see, before the release of the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, they showed a game called Watch Dogs. This game still hasn't come out, but as you can see, the graphics are nearly lifelike. Another release game was Battlefield 4, a first-person shooter which looked amazing. due to the popularity of the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 recording, this time the console developers stuck it inside the system. Even though it was really easy before, it did cost a little bit of money. Now, because the consoles were including it, everybody could record. And this was great for two people. We have the developers, because if people upload their game, it's just free advertising. If a funny video goes out in that game, loads of people are going to see it and think of picking up that game. And then there's YouTubers who can earn money off advertising they stick on their own video. And so what Xbox One and PlayStation 4 did was they just made it super easy to record, edit and do everything on the system, so it's just one click to go to the internet. So you may think consoles are the things which are making the big bucks and selling the most games, but I'm afraid it's not Xbox, PlayStation or anyone on the PC. The system selling the most games is a phone, and think of why easy that is. Why is the phone selling the most games? Because it's so accessible. Everybody has a phone. In modern culture, everybody needs a phone to talk to each other, message each other, all the social apps. But then what do you do when you're not talking to your friends on your phone? You play Flappy Bird, 2048, Worms Pocket Edition, Pointless Quiz with Friends, Plants vs Zombies, Minecraft Pocket Edition, and all I've done here is just loaded up my phone. The list goes on, and it doesn't matter if you're on iOS or Android. Even YouTube are starting to pick up on the trend, and they've started recording their phones. From the UK all the way to Japan, we've got Yogscast Hannah here playing this Moto Racer on an iPad, all the way to Japan, and a game called Puzzle and Dragons. If you're going to take one thing with you from this documentary, just remember, you have the best selling console in your pocket. If you're watching this on YouTube, I've linked all the sources down in the description if you want to go check anything out, and if you're not, everything's at the credits. So I hope you enjoyed. I'm Rees, and I'll see you next time.